Jalal Wilson, and welcome to the Short Men Only, if you're on Podcast Land, or the Short Men Nation, if you're on YouTube. And I just wanted to check in real quick. It's Monday. Last week, I told myself, I said, hey, I'm going to go live 4 times in the week. Hold on, I got to change this, turn this light down. I told myself I was gonna go live 4 times in the week, and I absolutely did not go live 4 times last week. Um, it's funny how when we're trying to do something, we get in the way, or we allow things to get in the way. And I think for me, last week I allowed things to get in my way, so I didn't complete what I wanted to do last week. There were a couple interesting things that did take place on the channel that I want to talk about. First of all, I just want to say thank you to all the new people on YouTube who are now subscribed to the channel. I really appreciate you. And even for those listening in podcast land, if you have not visited the YouTube channel, please check out Short Men Nation on YouTube. And there will be a website and some other things coming soon. Um, but there was a couple interesting things that I wanted to make sure I talked about. As I'm also going to give you 3 areas that I think short men really rob themselves in life when they have beliefs around these things. So the first thing I want to talk about is someone in a comment on a video asked about whether I was qualified to be giving the information I was giving on dating. And I thought that was interesting, and I definitely replied to the comment. It was a woman, actually. And I replied to the comment, and I explained that I am married. And that was something that took me. I wasn't sure, like, when I wrote a book. And actually, I'm gonna drop the link. I gotta drop the link because I keep saying it, but I haven't done it. I have a Kickstarter for the book, that I have a campaign, and I need to drop the link so that you guys can go check it out. And even if you don't pledge, at least you understand the backstory of why I even wrote the book. But anyway, so I wrote a book called The Short Man's Guide to Dating, because one of the things I really want to see is short men date more. I really want to see that. I want to see more short dudes in relationships, because I believe your height doesn't have anything to do with your ability to date. And I'll come back to more on that, why I believe that in a little bit. But she asked, if I was married, so if I was qualified to give the advice that I was giving. And what I told her is the same thing I want to say now. Everything that I'm going to talk about on this channel, I I'm not talking about theory. I'm going to talk about things that I experienced. And I'm not no perfect patty. I'm not the best looking guy out there or any of that, right? So I believe that with that all that being the case, if I can do it, you can do it in your own type of way too. So I come from a place of, if I'm talking about it, I did it, or I can do it, or I'm talking to. There'll be times I'll have somebody come on the channel that um I haven't done what they're doing. But the reason why I'm having them on the channel is because I want to learn how to do what they're doing, or I want to get the information so that we can all be better for having the information. So there'll be some times like that. But in general, I'm not trying to do theory on this channel. I'm trying to do things I've experienced and then report to you what I've learned. That's how I'm approaching this channel, and that's how I approached the last few weeks on the channel. And we have saw some growth on the channel because I told myself, you know what, I don't want to spend all my time trying to figure out what to create or what to say or what to do on this channel. No, I'm gonna go about my everyday life, and if something sparks in my mind about something, oh, I should make a video about, I'm gonna do that because that's more natural for me. And so I wanted to do that type of thing. I read a lot, so as I learn different concepts and different things and apply them to my own life, I'm going to come on here, then share them. And I told you guys before, I believe in seeing stuff before it, you got to see it before it happens. You got to walk into it. So, and I tell you guys every time, there are, there's one person right now watching this live, but in my mind, I see 1,000 people. I see 1,200 people. I see, that is what I see. And right now, what I'm doing by getting on these lives, getting more comfortable with doing lives and doing things like that, is I'm preparing myself for when that time comes and there are more people there. And one of the things I notice, and I'm paying attention to how many times I say I'm paying attention to how many times I say like. I'm working out all the kinks of this now, so that when there is a bigger audience, I do know how to be more confident when I'm doing these lives. And so I tell you guys this because you have to practice this same thing in your own life. Whatever it is that you're trying to do, the only way you're going to do it is by starting to do it and then figuring out, okay, well, I need to improve here. So if it's talking to a woman, for example, only way you're going to get better at talking to women is by talking to women. And then each time you talk to a woman, okay, what did I do good this time? What did I do bad this time? Or not even necessarily bad, but what can I do more of or less of? And then you fix that and you go and try it again. And the more you do that, the better off, the easier it's going to be to talk to women, the easier it's going to be to get the things you want in life because you're willing to put yourself out there. So that is what I'm doing. I'll give another example of this. I did a workout video the other day, and I noticed that after I finished the workout video, you don't see, people don't see in the video everything I was doing beforehand, right? You only see what I was doing at that moment when the camera turned on. And I noticed that I was not under full control. Well, I did a lot of work before that, right? But I still decided to put the video out there because the important thing I wanted people to understand was, if you're not working out, you can start with light weights. You can do these little things. And then in the comments, people were saying, "Oh, you got to have it under control." And you know what I say? You're right. Because one of the things I know is, yeah, you do want to have the weight under control, but it did not look under control in that video. But instead of me reshooting it and redoing it, I said, I acknowledged that it wasn't perfect, but I still put it out there because I didn't want the message to go over people's head. I'm just saying, these are something you can do to start working on your arms. And this is not theory because, I'm not a big guy, but for a short guy, my arms are pretty nice because I work on my arms. I'm not, nothing is theory. I'm doing exactly what I tell you to do. I do generally use heavier weights, but I'm not just starting working out. So it's a little different. But that's one of the things you're going to get when you're doing something new. Can you get the door? When you're starting something new, hold on one second. Get the door. Sorry. Get the door. Okay. And come get my door. Sorry. But when you're doing something new, um, you're gonna get, I mean, when you put yourself out there, you're gonna get feedback. When you start trying to do anything in life, feedback's gonna come, and you don't gotta take it personal. You take what you can use from it, and you get rid of the rest. If you know, something you can't use, you're not going, it's not going to benefit you. Then you just move on from it. But it doesn't have to be this thing where it's the worst thing that ever happened. It's not. Feedback is a part of how the process goes. And how can you get better? So next time I know, for example, with the workout video, I will make sure I slow down because I don't want the message to go over people's heads. So that is something I will make sure I do. Now, in general, this is just how life works. The more you put yourself out there, the more you're gonna have people saying, "Oh, you could do this, or you should do that, or you should do it." But you got to figure out your path and how to stay on your path and do your thing. And you can't always worry about what other people say. If you acknowledge, if you see something that they're saying is correct, you fix that. But if you see something that they're saying that's not correct, you just let it go. My job on this channel is to show you guys real. I'm not trying to be on here faking. So sometimes I'm gonna get stuff right, sometimes I'm gonna get stuff wrong. And if you're building a real community, the community's job is to help. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I get something way off, correct me, because if you correct me, that means I can correct myself, and then we can help other bros too who are watching this channel. So that is kind of my theory on how that works. But let me get into, and I'm gonna get off here because I gotta get ready to do dinner for my, get ready to eat dinner. But there's three, there's three areas that I believe that short men really mess themselves up with. And one of them is having limited beliefs about themselves. So when you have a limited belief about yourself, it's the same thing like me. I was like, man, I don't want to do shorts because I don't know if it'll help my channel or anything. I don't think people will watch my long videos if I do shorts and stuff. So I was like, I resisted doing shorts. But then just recently I started doing shorts. I realized that was a limiting belief. I was a belief that I believe that if I do a short, nobody will watch a long video. That was a limiting belief. And we have these limiting beliefs in our lives, especially as short men. Oh, because I'm not tall, nobody's gonna respect me. Or even that video I did today where I was talking about the guy who just wants to see videos of people making fun of him. Like, that's dumb. But that is because he has this view of himself as not being worthy, not being enough. And so when we walk around with these limiting beliefs about ourselves, we shrink in life instead of expanding. Instead of becoming all that we can be, we shrink because we believe these things about ourselves. Oh, nobody's gonna uh, look at me, or nobody's gonna want to date me, or nobody's gonna really like being around me. These are all just limiting beliefs that we tell ourselves for, whatever reasons we decided. Maybe somebody told us that a long time ago, right? Maybe somebody told us that, and that goes into number two is we allow others to put their limiting beliefs on us. So that's when you start watching channels where they're talking about, oh, short men aren't, I would never date a short man, or I would never want to be around a short dude, or whatever the case may be. You When you watch stuff like that, you're allowing that person's limiting beliefs to affect you and decide who you are. But you don't have to let nobody else do that. That is not a requirement. You are not required to allow somebody else's limiting beliefs to affect who you are and how you see yourself. And even when, you know, even with being in school, I have my son. Um, he was trying out for sports, and the teacher told him. I mean, the coach told him he said he didn't make the team because he was too short. And what I told my son is that's not true. And the reason why I told my son that that's not true, because it's not. What was true is my son was not skilled enough at that sport to make the team. If he had been skilled enough, regardless of his height, he would have made the team. Because you've seen it in every major sport, there is somebody who is short. So therefore, short people can make it in the sport, but you got to be good enough. So the truth was, because I don't want my son to go through life with this limiting belief that, oh, his height disqualifies him from every sport. That's not true. What disqualifies him is his work ethic. If he does not put in the work to be good at whatever sport it is, then the person is right for telling him. I mean, then he doesn't deserve to play. So he gets to choose whether he wants to put in the effort or he doesn't. But we have to be careful with limiting beliefs. If somebody told us one time, I remember somebody told me once, and I carried it with me for a long time. She told me I used to have really crooked teeth. And she said, I would be cute if my teeth weren't so crooked. And so, I carried that around with me for a long time. I felt like, I felt the anger, the frustration. I know a lot of dudes, feel, when people tell them, oh, if you were taller, you might be cute, or um, if you were this, if you were that, knowing that you can't be any of those things. You can only be who you are, and that's all that you should want to be. The the other things, the last one I'm going to go with, because like I said, I gotta get ready to eat dinner, but the last one I'm going to, we let our environments dictate. We have limiting beliefs about our environment. So we'll be in an environment and say, well, everybody ain't smart, so that means I can't be smart. Or everybody ain't successful, so that means I can't be successful. None of that is true. Or uh, just because you may not be in an environment around a bunch of entrepreneurs who are doing things, it doesn't mean that you can't be an entrepreneur and do things. Just because you're not in the environment that you think is conducive to whatever it is you want to be doesn't mean it's not possible. You gotta not let your environment dictate your reality. If you're around a bunch of party people but you want to focus on your studies, do not allow your environment to get you off track. You can decide how you will let your environment affect you. You don't have to be or do or act in any way just because that is what people normally do in your environment. When we can get control of these things, and it's hard. You're like, how do we get control of the limiting beliefs around ourselves, the limiting beliefs that we allow others to tell us, and the limiting beliefs around our environment? I think the best way that we can do this, and this is something I'm using, is to ask ourselves a question. In 10 years, if we keep going along with whatever it is, the limiting belief we have about ourselves, the limiting beliefs about others, and the limiting beliefs about our environment, if we keep going down the road 10 years from now and we still believe in the same things, is our life going to be better or worse? If our life is going to be worse, then it is our job in this moment to ask ourselves, what can we do? What can we change right now to make that outcome of life being worse in 10 years not a thing? So for me, let's give an example of that. So for me, that would be, if I keep telling myself this thing about the YouTube channel, then that would be, you can leave that thing about the internet, that thing about the YouTube channel, right? Then that would be, in the next 10 years, I still might be in the same place with my YouTube channel, frustrated, angry, upset at myself, because I kept telling myself this limiting belief around around what I could do on YouTube. If it's for you and it's for regarding a woman, it's you keep telling yourself that no woman will like you. Well, 10 years from now, you're gonna be more depressed, you're gonna be more upset, you're gonna be frustrated, you're gonna be defeated, you're gonna feel all of that because you just told yourself, that no woman's gonna like you. And so the next 10 years, that's all gonna play out. But if you tell yourself, hey, I'm confident in me, I will find the right woman, I will do, I'm gonna become the best version of myself, and becoming the best version of myself is gonna help me attract the person I want to attract to my life, then I guarantee you the chances are you meet that person in the next 10 years. So we always have to basically fast forward 5, 10 years and say, if I keep going down this road, am I gonna be happy with the results? If not, then I gotta work backwards and do something today. Because why would I want to punish the 5 year from now version of myself or the 10 years from now version of myself? No, I want to avoid punishing that person because I'm gonna be that person in that 5 to 10 years. So I want you guys to think about that. And again, I just want to say I appreciate you guys for jumping in. And this is honestly the most that I've seen on a live on this channel. And it just goes to what I said. You got to see it before it happens. Like I said, I see thousands, but I appreciate the three that I see right now. Um, See it before you believe. I mean, before it exists. And when it exists, I mean, in that meantime, you just prepare for it. I'm preparing for it. Like I said, I was paying attention to my ums and my likes in this like. I had a few. I gotta stop that. But now I'm gonna go have dinner with my family. I hope this was useful for you, and I appreciate you. Jalal Wilson with the Short Men Only podcast, and Jalal Wilson with the Short Man Nation YouTube channel. And like I said, I'm gonna drop the link for my Kickstarter for the book, um, Short Man's Guide to Dating, and we will have a website, newsletter, all that stuff coming. Put my money where my mouth is, and I'm gonna make those things happen. And I'm gonna build a community like just it's coming. I appreciate y'all. I'm gone.